Hello and welcome to Hot Money Technicals on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. This is the show which gets you a complete wrap of all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. I'm Darshan Mehta. Let's welcome our experts and Aditya Agarwala of Yes Securities, Kkunal Parar of Choice Broking, and independent technical analyst and mentor NS Fidai join us on the show. Before we begin with the show analysis with our analyst, let's bring in Yash Upadhyay, who has a chart on Dabur. Yash, good afternoon. What does the chart indicate?
Good afternoon, Darshan. So there's a sell signal coming in on Dabur, an interesting chart pattern to watch out for as well. So while the price has been making higher highs for Dabur, look at the RSI and how it has moved. So the consequent highs are marked on the price chart over here, and this is the daily time frame for Dabur. The yellow circles indicate the highs, and after making 3 consecutive highs, look at the RSI. It has formed 3 lower highs for the same price point. So as you could see, it has been on a downward trajectory for the RSI on the daily time frame. Now typically when the prices make higher highs and the RSI is making lower highs, that indicates that there is a loss of momentum on the bull side, and that there could be a weakness coming into the counter. Moving on to the weekly chart of Dabur as well. Now around the mark of close to around 450 or so, it has acted as a stiff resistance. It has come to these levels previously as well and has given a minor correction. So not a whole lot, not a deep correction as though when it comes to Dabur, but at the current level, or probably a sell on rise kind of a strategy, that would make sense, because again, look at the RSI. That is also offering a favorable risk to reward ratio, because coming around the mark of 60 or 62, that is where it has not managed to go up further, and it has lost some steam there. So probably on the upside there seems to be limited scope, but if it does bounce, probably a sell on rise kind of a strategy looks good wherein Dabur is concerned.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on Dabur. Thanks so much for that, Yash. Aditya, what's your sense on Dabur? Does it look like a sell to you?
Not exactly a sell, but more of a consolidation, sideways consolidation. 435 on the downside is a good support area. So I believe even if we see a correction, probably a 5 rupee dip, percent or a half.
So you won't short at this level?
I won't short Dabur. Probably if it breaks 435, then yes, I would trigger a short trade.
Okay, Kkunal, what's your sense on Dabur? Long, short, or do nothing?
It's like do nothing, because on a smaller time frame, stock has been trading in a upward rising channel formation, and somewhere around 430, 432 stock is getting a good support. So at this level, my views like stay away from the stock.
Okay, and NS, what's your sense? What would you do?
Well, we see something like a strong support around 434, 432. Okay, so if that breaks, then you can expect it to go down to 420, 418. That could be a good area to go long, I suppose, and that would be a very strong buy over there. So it's a trading bet. Yes, I agree with Yash in that sense.
Okay, so it's a trading bet. I think the view currently is that if levels of 435 to 434 are broken, then the counter could give you returns of 10 to 12 rupees, but that's more like a trading play, and at lower levels NS is indicating that you should start accumulating the counter. Let's begin with the first round of chart, and the first chart is by Aditya. It's on Greaves Cotton. Remember, it's cotton, but it makes diesel engines, so that's the business. Nevertheless, let's pull up the chart, and what's the logic and what's the sense that Aditya is giving? Why are you bullish on it?
So this is the chart I've drawn. This is the weekly chart. This is from 2015, and I've drawn 3 parallel lines, as you can clearly see on the chart. I will go back slightly in the history. Look at this area in 2014. This area again in 2015-16, this area, 2017-18, this area, 2018 again this area, and 2019 again back area. So if we clearly take a look at the chart from 2015 onwards, 114 to about 112 acts as a very strong support for the stock. Demand kicks in every time stock comes to these levels, and every time stock moves higher to levels of 160, that is the area where the stock faces resistance. Now again, recently stock made a dash towards 160, and from there stock corrected all the way to 112. So my sense is stock will continue to oscillate in this band of 112 on the downside to 160 on the upside. At current levels of 129, 130, the risk to reward is in favor of going long, clearly because the stock has already taken support at the lower end of the range, which it has been doing so from 2014 onwards. I believe one can start accumulating the stock at current levels or on marginal declines to about 125, 124 also. I believe targets could be 140, which happens to be this cluster of resistances where the the stock finds minor resistance around these areas of 140 to about 135 zone. So 140 will be my first target. If that is crossed, I would trail my stop loss and probably look for a target of 150 also on the upside. Very tight stop loss would be 124, but I would recommend putting a stop loss somewhere around 120, which will offer you good support. On the daily chart, 120 has acted as a support, and from there the stock has moved up. Again, if I take a look at the RSI has again taken support at this lower end of the range from where which is like 40, from where the stock tends to bounce back, which is the lower end of the range. So every time stock comes to these levels of 40, stock has managed to claw back to levels of 150, 60. So my sense is, and again the RSI has turned upwards post taking support at sub 40 levels. My sense is one can accumulate the stock at current levels, look for a target of 140.
So this is basically a positional range bound trade
Yes,
that you're looking.
it's a range bound
but
trade.
do you see by any chance the counter going beyond the 160? Because
so it has
somehow
done so.
Doesn't,
it has done
sustain.
so. It has done so in the past, but it has not held levels of 160 and again went back to 112. So I wouldn't trade beyond 160. I would wait for the stock to close on a monthly basis above 160. On a monthly basis, stock has not managed to close above 160. If it manages to close above 160 on a monthly basis, I would want to ride the trade because I'm getting it at 130. I would still be in the money by 30 rupees. So that would give me a good cushion as far as stop losses is concerned.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Aditya. Kunal, what's your sense? 130 Greaves Cotton, what would your strategy be here?
At 132 level, stock has a strong resistance, and that's a 200 DMA. So for trading perspective, if stock sustain above 132, definitely I'll go for a target of 140, 145. But if I talk about positional perspective, what Aditya said, that's what I'm seeing on the chart, means somewhere around 112, 110 stock has a strong support, and the stock has been trading in a rectangle formation. So for short term to medium term, definitely I'll go for buy at 129, and if it plunge up to the level of 120, I'll accumulate the stock with the SL of 110 for a target of 150 and 160. And on monthly chart, the monthly chart is like more convincing because since last few months stock has been taking a strong support of its 100 months moving average, which is like the good which creates a good demand zone. So definitely I'll go for buy for short term to positional, but for trading perspective, if it's sustain above 132, then only I go buy.
Okay, what's your sense, NS?
Well, I will avoid buying right now at this moment because the upsides are very limited and stock has very strong resistance, as Kkunal also pointed out. At 132, 135, there is a mean reversion area where stock faces very strong resistances. Yes, I agree with Aditya in the sense like 110, 112 is a good area to accumulate. So I would be happy to buy it over there. Otherwise, I would give a pass.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on Greaves Cotton. That's the first stock. The next stock is Kkunal with his chart on HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank of late has been rather volatile, but let's see what the sense that Kkunal brings. It's been consolidating at this level. Why do you sense a big move on the higher side?
HDFC Bank is the main contributor in Nifty's gain, and recently we can see that the stock has taken a support of its lower band of the upward rising channel formation, and we can see from here that since August 2018 stock has been trading in this upward rising channel formation, and as well as you can see this is the dotted line, that's a horizontal line, and recently the stock has taken a support of the same, and you can see over here this is the first instance where stock faces strong resistance of the same, and over here this is the second, third, fourth, fifth. Now this resistance has become a support for the counter, so I am expecting a good bounce back from this level. So there is like multiple support comes for the target for the counter on a daily chart. Even if you talk about the RSI front, then even RSI is trading with a positive positive crossover of its average line, and right now it is taking a support of its 20 marks, and even MACD even it indicates positive crossover. But right now MACD is trending below is zero line, which indicates stock doesn't have that strength, but yes, positive breath is there. So let it cross above zero. If MACD cross above zero, then we will see a strength in the counter. So overall daily chart indicates a very good upside movement in the counter, but definitely it will take time. However, if we talk about monthly chart, then monthly chart looks very good. This is a 21 month moving average, and this is, you can see over here, this is the first time, second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time. You can count on how many times stock took a support of the same, and recently the stock has taken a support of the 21 month moving average. So I'm expecting a replicate movement that stock gave in past.
Okay, so it's at 24.45 right now. What's the ideal strategy?
HDFC Bank, definitely I'll go for buy. Right now it is trading at 2244. I'll buy up to the level of 21990. Means it would be a good fruitful strategy up to the level of 2190 for a target of 2430.
Okay, what's the timeline you see?
At this level, it has been consolidating because MACD is below zero line, so it will take time. My time frame is more than 2 to 3 months.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Kunal. NS, what's the sense? Would you be a buyer in HDFC Bank?
On the dips rather at around 2190-95, and on the upside it faces very strong resistances around 2290, 2275. So it's actually consolidating right now. It needs to give a movement on either side. If it goes above 2290, there is a buy side, and if it goes below 2195, I would go short.
Okay, what's your sense, Aditya?
I would want to play the stock on a breakout above 2280. 2280 has been acting as a stiff resistance as of now. It's been consolidating as was visible on the charts. So 2280 will be the trigger point for me. The moment it crosses, probably targets could be 2370 on the upside. So I would take a trade above 2280. That is at the moment acting as a resistance.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on the big boy HDFC Bank. The next chart is actually on the index. It's by NS Fidai. It's on the Nifty itself. Nifty is doing well itself. It's up 60 points. Currently almost near day's high, but I think you're giving more on a positional basis.
On a longer term chart.
Yeah, longer term trend, what are you spotting?
Like if you see this, the top line is you can say 18 months exponential moving average, and the bottom purple line is 50 months. Now whenever Nifty has broken below 18 months, if you observe any time, it will always take a support on purple line. Makes a little bit small dip every time if it comes to that area. So this trend line seems to be more powerful, ongoing for, you can say. So if we see a dip below this area, that would be that is our major support, and this is our intermediate support right now. And right now Nifty is trading below that trend line. Now if you see this, it has been trading below the moving average, also trading below the trend line. Now that is where the Nifty has to, this is the worst case and I would say grim scenario. But this grim scenario would be, you can say it will go away, we can wish away, only if it goes, this Nifty starts crossing beyond 11,300. And right now it doesn't seem so. There is lots of pressure on the Nifty. Can we see the daily chart, please? So if you see on daily chart, see this is what, it's a parallel channel actually. Okay, if you connect this top and this top and you create a parallel line, and if you put it here, this is where it takes support. Now this line, it is, see there is so much congestion here, it is unable to cross beyond this. Plus if you see there are multiple tops here which is again going to act as a resistance. So first this line, then another one is this, then you have 50 DEMA, 200 DEMA, lots of resistances in this area. And whenever there is lots of congestion of any kind of resistances, you can expect more weakness because there will be selling pressure because of this resistances. And let's see how it plays out. So right now we are seeing if Nifty is unable to sustain, one should go short near 11,100, 11,200. Okay, and keep a stop loss at 11,300. Okay. So you can do it in 2 tranches. We don't want to do it right now. Okay. Okay, and if it's unable to sustain, let's say if it falls below 10,600, this area, then we are done for, and we will be seeing all those scenarios getting played, and then we may see even 10,300, 10,100, 9,800, 9,200 being played out.
What is the level you said? 10,600 if it falls below that.
Yeah.
So that's your big breakdown level that you're watching.
Yes, and we will keep a stop loss on the short side at 10,300 while we are going short around 11,100 and 11,200 in 2 tranches, but we'll keep a stop loss at 11,300.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you so much for that. What's your sense, Aditya, on the Nifty? What are you recommending your clients?
At current levels, probably risk to reward is in favor of going long, honestly, because the downside support, strong support area is around 10,800, 10,750. So I would rather on the flip side want to place a stop somewhere around 10,750 and go long for a target of 11,200, 11,500, because then that gives me more risk to reward in favor of going long. Around 11,400, 500, definitely Nifty will face resistance, and I believe post testing 11,500 market can again witness a correction. But at the moment, I believe market market was also forming an inverted head and shoulder from what I saw, the chart that the NS pointed out. So if it breaks out of 11,050, that will also indicate a breakout from an inverted head and shoulders pattern, which is a bullish sign. In that case, targets could be as high as 11,500 on the upside as well. Along with that, if I take a look at the fall that the Nifty has given, 10% fall, in excess of 10% fall. In the past, whenever Nifty has fallen in excess of 10%, RSI tends to make a positive divergence, which is Nifty makes a lower low, RSI makes a higher low. This time around, again, when Nifty has fallen in excess of 10%, RSI has already formed a positive divergence. So for me, these are two trigger signs which tells that I would not go short at current levels. Probably I'll look to go long at current levels, and for targets of 11,200, 11,500, placing a stop loss at 11,800.
Okay. Kkunal, what's your sense?
That's why at this level, on an early chart, stock has been trading in a symmetrical triangle formation and upper side at 950, exactly where the upper band of the symmetrical triangle comes. So, from the present level, definitely I'll go for a buy. What Aditya said, I'm definitely agree with him. From the present level, I'll go for a buy for the first target of 960, and if it crosses, then I'm seeing somewhere around 11,100, 11,200 with the SL of 10,800.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on the Nifty itself. Let's begin with the second round of chart. Aditya has a chart on Cummins India. Let's have the chart. Aditya, if you can come in. I think on the fundamental side, the commentary has been rather weak for Cummins in terms of the guidance, both on the domestic side and as well as the export side. But what's the sense that you're having?
So this is again in conjunction to what I shown on Greaves Cotton. Stock, after testing levels of about 1,200 or sub 1,200, has been moving in a falling wedge pattern. And you can clearly see there have been multiple occasions when the stock has taken support at the lower end of the wedge and moved higher. It's been occasions in 2015, 16, again in 2018, and now again the stock has come back to this support zone of the lower end of the wedge. What is important to look at is for the last 3 weeks, today's the third week, if we can just zoom in onto this or not. So last couple of weeks has shown sort of a hammer pattern, a hammer candlestick pattern, which is shadows have been lower, which suggests that demand is coming in at the lower end of the wedge, which the moment a stock comes to the lower end of the wedge, bulls step in and take the stock higher. It's a good risk to reward setup at current levels of 576. I would place a stop somewhere around 530 and can look for an upward target of as high as 650 to about 680. And if it crosses 680, I could also see levels of 700 on the upside.
Would you buy at these levels?
Yeah, I would definitely buy at these levels because the risk to reward is in favor of going long. Absolutely. A trader would obviously want to look for a risk to reward ratio, and at current levels, I would just bet at a stop loss of 530 and look for a target of 680 on the upside, which is a decent 100 rupee upside, more than 100 rupee upside. Now, along with that, if I also take a look at the RSI, look where RSI is placed on the weekly charts. It's at 30. Whenever it comes to 30 levels, look how the stock has reacted, and these are all the lower end of the wedges when RSI tested 30. So there are a couple of things on the chart which tells me that it's a good risk to reward setup on the Cummins. Probably it's more of a positional trade. You want to go buy at current levels, add on to current levels, put a stop at 530, look for other 680 and plus.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Aditya. Kunal, what's your sense? Would you buy Cummins at 575?
Yes, definitely. At this level, risk reward is very favorable, and at this level, stock has been trading in a falling wedge formation, and stock has a good support of its lower band of the falling wedge formation. So I am expecting a bounce back, and even weekly RSI is taking a support of 28-30 marks, and we have seen past that more than 60-70% is whenever RSI touches 28 marks, stock gave a good bounce back afterwards. So I am expecting the same replicate movement from the current level. So definitely, I'll go for buy with the SL of 540. However, I'm seeing somewhere around 640, 650 in coming trading days.
Okay, NS?
Yeah, absolutely agree. And every dip is a buying opportunity up to 555. Below 550, that should be a stop loss. So 548, you can keep a stop loss. And on the upside, the stock has a potential to do almost up to 650. And the stock RSI is also showing very good positive divergences. One can take a long here and add on dips.
Okay, so I think it's a consensus bullish call that's coming in on Cummins India. The next chart is by Kkunal. It's on ICICI Prudential. The counter has been doing extremely well, trading at record highs. So let's see what's happening. ICICI Prudential Life Insurance. So at 436, what's the view?
Listen, my view is very bullish on the counter. Stock has already given a breakout of his symmetrical triangle formation. You can see after listing stock made a low of somewhere around 240, and after it it went up to the level of somewhere around 500. Then after it came down. However, this formation make a symmetrical triangle formation on a weekly chart, and recently over here the stock gave a support of its upper band of symmetrical triangle formation, and even this RSI even has been trading in upper rising channel formation, and it's more like that the stock RSI may give a breakout of the upper band of the same. So overall this chart indicates so very good, and if we have a daily chart, even on a daily chart stock has given a breakout of the bullish formation. Over here you can see stock gave us somewhere around 415 level of breakout, and right now it's trading at 436. So overall weekly chart plus daily chart both indicates a very bullish movement in the counter.
Okay, so it's at 436. What's the ideal strategy?
One can get into stock at 436, and if it plunged up to the level of 425, even it would become a good buying opportunity with the SL of 410 for a target of 485.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Kunal. Aditya, what's your sense on Prudential ICICI? Would it be a buyer?
There is strength in the stock without a doubt. Having said that, stock has moved about 10% post breakout, so the significant move has already happened. So the cushion is not there anymore. I would not want to buy at current levels. On the daily chart, stock is sitting at overbought levels. The strength is definitely with the bulls, but I would wait for a correction, probably minor dip to levels of 420, 415 would be a good ideal place to get into the stock again. So just wait out for the stock to correct. It can correct in probably a day or two, or probably next week. Whenever the correction kicks in, it's a good bet to actually put your money on.
Okay, and NS, what's your sense?
Well, I would say, I agree with both of them. Stock has a very good high momentum right now play. So risk reward is not favorable for somebody who wants to trade it right now at this level. Should be bought on dips, and this stock has a potential to go up to 460, 465. If it crosses 465, you can even see it go beyond 500, may go up to 600 also, but should be bought on dips rather, because the risk reward is not very favorable at this moment.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on the counter, which is trading at record highs. And lastly, we have a chart from NS Fidai. It's a chart on Canara Bank. NS, if we can have you, let's have the chart and see why are you recommending buying this counter?
Well, if you see this, I have put a trend line from the actual listing price. Okay, and I have taken the major bottom on the whole chart from there, and if you see, the price is almost in that area right now. Okay. It is very much near to that support area, and this trend line is supposed to be a very long term monthly chart trend line. So I would say this is a very low risk area first thing from the long term perspective. Now let's see on the daily chart. I'm just using a simple tool of technical analysis, which is nothing but trend line. Now I am using the intermediate bottoms in between. If you would like to see this, multiple bottoms on this line,
support at that,
and it is exactly in that area. So 193, 192 kind of min, and 187. That area is a very good support. One should keep on buying this in this area on dips and keep a tight stop loss below 183.
Okay.
So it could be a 2% kind of 2.5% kind of risk on your average buying price, and the stock has a potential to make a long-term bottom here.
Okay.
And the stock has a potential to go all the way. Like for traders, it can give you 208 in very short term, and we see 217, 237, and 295 also. Right, 295 because this is the area where it is usually being resisted. So that could be a long-term target for us. And the price, we can see this could whole thing play out in 1 to 6 months, like various targets. So the potential of risk reward is very high. You have limited risk, nominal risk, and the rewards are exponentially high. So one can take a very positive view about on this stock.
Okay, that's the view. Thank you so much for that, NS. What's your sense, Aditya? Canara Bank?
Stock is sitting at oversold levels on short-term time frame charts. On daily charts, it's at extreme oversold levels post the sell-off that we have seen. I would place a stop at 190 and go long. If it breaks 190, I'm out of the trade. It's just 4 rupees from here. Apart from that, I don't see any signs of reversal yet on the chart. So I would wait for the stock to cross 200, and then probably it can show some signs of strength. Otherwise, I'll place a stop at 190, tight stop, and go for a long trade.
Okay, and what about you?
Darshan, if I want to play, then I'll play only on RSI because there is a strong support somewhere around 26 mark, and we have seen that whenever RSI took the support of the same, Canara Bank gave a good upside movement. So right now I'm playing only on the RSI. Right now stock is trading somewhere around 195, 196. I'll put a SL of 190 for the target of somewhere around 204 and more above it 206.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on Canara Bank. Obviously, at low levels, there is enough support that's coming in. Yash is back with the second chart, and it's on NTPC. NTPC managed to move up significantly in trade yesterday, post the news that came in one of the newspapers indicating that the second round or the next rounds of CPSC won't come in, and that is why NTPC did well. But Yash, what are you sensing?
That's right. So that good news should possibly translate into prices also moving higher, because the trender indicator, which is a proprietary Bloomberg indicator, that has given a positive crossover. So the trender line, which is the one in the red, that is at the mark of 124. The stock is comfortably above that mark right now. It's trading close to 126. Now, as the condition stands, it has to close above that mark, and it has come quite close to that mark several occasions in the past as well, but it has not successfully closed above it. Now, as the condition stands, it has to close above it, and should it manage to do it this time around in today's day of trade, the trender line would flip its color from red to green, and historically every time that has happened, on an average, because it has the highest success ratio of 100%, so all 4 times that it has happened, the stock has on an average given returns of close to 8.5% in the next 1 month period. So NTPC looks set for a rally on the upside.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on NTPC. Aditya, yesterday NTPC was very active.
Yes.
You think a decisive breakout has been seen on the counter?
I believe it's not a decisive breakout, but yes, a breakout has been seen on the counter, and believe rallies will continue to levels of 130 to 133. For targets of 132, 33, I can definitely go long on the stock for keep a stop somewhere around 123.
Okay, Kkunal, what's your sense on NTPC?
At this level, Darshan, I'll wait because at 126 level there are multiple resistance comes at, and even 200 DMA comes. So if it's sustained above 126, definitely I'll go for buy for the target of 134 and more above it 140. So at this level, my strategy is like to stay away from the counter. If it's sustained above 126, it will become a good buying opportunity.
Okay, and NS, what's your sense?
Well, I would say it needs to cross and sustain above 132. 130, 132, because that is where there is a strong resistance right now, and yesterday also it got rejected around 130ish. So rather we wait for it to cross that and then go for a momentum trade, or we buy on dips near to 124, 125. That would be a great area to add this stock.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on the final stock, but we're completely timed out on this edition. Many thanks to all of my guests, Aditya, Kkunal, Ines. Thank you so much for coming in today. With that, it's a wrap on today's edition of Hot Money. Thanks for watching Bloomberg Quint.